Okay, looks like I should be live here. I was just going to do a quick little chat about the election and kind of what's been going on with it. They had some new polls I saw that were kind of shocking, honestly. I don't know if I really believe them. I'll talk about that in a second, though. I want to make sure this actually comes through on the other end here. We'll give it a second. It's been crazy. I've been getting like minute-long, 50-second, 60-second delays. Crazy. Getting the pina colada out. It's not a bad plan. Nice, cool drink for the summer. All right. So it looks like we're good. So I guess the first thing I was going to talk about was this like wild ass poll I saw, which I guess was from Morning Consult, which I don't know if I quite believe this. I'll go ahead and explain it. It seems like it would be, it's probably an outlier poll, is my guess, which is the thing they're always trying to avoid. All the pollsters and stuff, they don't want to put out an outlier poll. They try not to do it because it makes them look like shit if their poll is not saying at least somewhere in the neighborhood of what everybody else's is saying. I mean, it's not like so far off that it couldn't be somewhere around accurate, but there's a couple things that don't really make a lot of sense. And it could be that they're just right and that the other guys, it's going to take them a minute to catch up and the other polls are going to start reflecting this. I don't know. It would be really weird. Like, I mean, I get that, and basically the gist of it is this. I'll go ahead and pop it up on the screen so you can see what I'm talking about. Where is this? I'm going to try a different map this time. Another interactive map. I've been using the one, I think it was from the University of Houston, and before that I used some other janky one. I don't even know what it was, but it had a ton of ads, so we'll try this one. This is ABC's map. Looks like it's showing up more clearly there, and you can see the numbers at the top. So, as always, as a reminder, they just got to get to 270. If one of them hits 270, they win. There's a weird scenario where they could each get 269 and tie. So the way I have this map filled in here is basically more or less reflects what that morning console poll was saying. I think they were tied in one of these. Let me go double check. Oh, I don't have it pulled up right now. I think they might have been tied in Wisconsin. Maybe that was the one, which doesn't really matter. Even if you flip that one back, like Trump would still lose. So what's so devastating about this, and part of the reason I don't believe it, is how far ahead she gets. So that this basically just gave every swing state back to Kamala Harris, and except Pennsylvania, which is really weird. Like, that's really fucking weird to me, because Pennsylvania seemed like one of the ones she would have a better shot in. At least that's what the polling's been. She was never like super far behind there, like she was in some of these other places, like Arizona and Nevada. She caught back up for sure in Michigan, Wisconsin, Georgia, all those places. She definitely caught back up in. So I'm not so much surprised that you would see a poll. And I should probably actually go pull up the actual poll here. Let me go find it so I can give you the exact margins on this. Because it was like she was up by like quite a bit in some of these. Just the fact that she was up at all in Nevada and Georgia is kind of nuts. Let's see here. We're better in swing states than Biden. Let's see. God, why can't I get this crap up? Oh, I can't view this without. Oh my God. Well, let's see. Maybe I can just find an article that recites the polls. Here we go. We'll check out what Bloomberg says. Oh God, they want Jesus. Reuters, somebody, anybody. Okay. So according to Reuters, which is reading this poll, because like everybody and their brother wrote a fucking article about this. Oh, they're still talking about Biden. Jesus, don't care. Okay. Okay, yeah. So, oh my God, this is crazier than I remembered. Okay. So according to this, the poll has Harris up by 11 points in Michigan, which is there's no fucking way that's true. If that's true, like I feel like the election would be over. It has her up by 11 points in Michigan, while Arizona, Wisconsin, Nevada, she had 2-point leads. So those are all still within the margin of error. Trump was winning Pennsylvania by 4, so it wasn't even like he was like, you know, uh, winning that one by a little. He's winning by 4 points. North Carolina by 2. Okay, it was Georgia they were tied in. All right, so they were tied here. So he flipped that one back to him, and then she would win, or he would win, I should say. That would just barely get him back to what he needs. So it's extremely close. Even if that poll's accurate, that basically just means it's a 50-50 toss-up, essentially, because it just comes down to Georgia, and it has Georgia at a statistical tie. So whichever way that goes would cause the other person to win. That's kind of wild. And I'm not 100% sure because I'm always guessing about the little districts in Maine and Nebraska. I never know what this. I just set those the right way to make the final numbers come out the way they're supposed to. I don't really know. You can kind of trade back. They don't. It doesn't really matter. But you see my point. It says she's up by 11 points in Michigan, down by 4 points in Pennsylvania. It doesn't make any fucking sense. But if it is true, she's got a much better shot of winning because that wouldn't just mean it means she's competitive everywhere, really. If she picked Josh Shapiro, which seems exceptionally likely at this point, that was the other thing I was going to talk about. Then maybe she could win Pennsylvania too, and then it's just a blowout. But I don't know if I believe this. We'll have to see. We'll have to see if more shit comes out. Kamala picks Josh Shapiro as her VP. She can have a chance in winning the election. Oh, she's already got a chance, even with no VP right now. I mean, you could say things will chill out. Like a lot of people have been saying, this is all kind of a hype, I guess, from her just becoming the nominee. Because how long has it been? It hasn't even been that long. Has it been 2 weeks yet? Even probably not. Like a week and a half, something like that. I think it's been a week and a half since Biden stepped down and endorsed her. And it could just be that the Democrats are all hyped up and excited. They're all hyped up on Kamala. And that is what's showing up in the polls. And that's going to chill out. People call this a honeymoon period. Basically, she hasn't been given a chance to screw up yet or do anything to put people off. She's just kind of, nobody really knows much about her other than she's not Donald Trump at this point, and Trump's a massively unpopular candidate. So it could be that, and it could be excitement on the Democrat side. They're getting like momentum, I guess you would call it, because of how dramatically things flipped. They went from being extremely depressed and like convinced they were going to fucking lose to like, at least they're back in the race. They've got a shot, even though they're not. It's not like they're doing fantastic, but they're all hyped up because they were like certain they were going to lose. It's like people talked about how the assassination attempt helped Donald Trump out and gave him a boost in the polls, and it had it was good for him to have like a near death experience, I guess, because it generates hype and people pay attention, and he had some cool looking images and all of this. Well, with the Democrats, they sort of had. I mean, obviously, it's not the same thing. It's not an actual near death experience. Not quite. I mean, maybe in Joe Biden's case, I don't know. But they almost had like a resurrection occur, I guess you could call it, because they went from essentially their candidacy. If we're just thinking of the candidacy as like a station, or if we kind of anthropomorphize the office or the station of the candidacy, the job, and think of it like it's a person, it was dead. You know, their shot at the election was dead. And then once they replaced Biden with Kamala, it came right back to life. And it was like a miracle had occurred because it was so dramatically unlikely. So it was almost like they witnessed a resurrection and they get all hyped up and they're like, oh my God, it's a miracle. And now we can maybe have a chance. And then they start seeing polls like this. And I don't know. I got to up my chances of her winning. I was saying 60-40 before. I still, like I said, I don't know if I buy this. If polls keep consistently showing shit like this, then maybe, but I don't know. I'll up her up to a 45%, 45-55. Trump just barely ekes it out. Gets a slight edge in there. That's my guess at this point. I'm guessing she'll pick Shapiro, and I think because I saw today that Josh Shapiro, governor of Pennsylvania, canceled like the next few days of his fundraising events in, I don't remember where this was. He was doing fundraisers, I think for Kamala, somewhere, I want to say it was New York. I don't know where. But he canceled the events, which a lot of people are speculating. It's because Kamala is supposedly going to announce in the next few days, I guess this weekend maybe, who her VP selection is. And so they're guessing he canceled those events because he's going to show up at an event somewhere with her, which, who knows? I don't know why you would need to cancel all of those. Like, why couldn't you? I mean, maybe they have to do meetings. I guess that would be it. He has to do some meetings and things like that. Plan. I know he has to be present whenever they announce it, obviously. So they're going to cancel whatever that event would have been. But it seems like it's going to be him. That seems to be like an indicator. It's probably him. Or, who knows? Maybe he got sick, or maybe he found out she didn't pick him and he got ass mad and decided to stop doing fundraisers for her. I doubt that's the case. I think she probably picked him. He makes all the sense in the world. None of the other people they were talking about made any sense at all to me. The only problem with him was, the fact that he was Jewish, which could piss off the Muslims in Michigan. But again, it also sort of helps because the fact that he's like Jewish and a moderate and all this stuff, that helps Kamala because they're trying to go to the middle now. And I've actually heard there's Republicans shitting on her a lot lately, saying that she was like this wild progressive. And there's no doubt that she's pretty progressive. I'm not going to deny that. All of the Democrats are. Like, all of them are at this point. Joe Biden was pretty damn progressive on a lot of shit. But the things they pull up about her, the quotes and stuff that they'll reference, they're always from the Democrat primary, which that's like her at her most progressive, because that's what you do in a primary. The Republicans and the Democrats do this. If you watch the primary debates ever, they always like try to take extreme right wing or left wing opinions to get the base to vote for them. And then once they get the nomination, they walk everything back and run to the middle and try and start winning people from the other side because they assume they've got their side locked down. So there's no point. They just, kind of hype that stuff up to win the primary and then hope that none of it can hurt them too bad in a general. In her case, I don't think it will hurt her that much. That stuff's from a long time ago. Nobody really knows about it. And for the most part, the Republicans aren't even talking about it. They're just talking about, like, they're not talking about it. Well, I mean, some of them do. But for the most part, it seems like they're talking about her being a screw up on the border, or her being like obnoxious, or how she got elected, which is kind of all the things I said they would criticize. Some of them do talk about like her policies would be so much worse and more progressive than Biden. They don't usually get into it, and it doesn't really seem to, I don't know, that kind of stuff doesn't really seem to stick that well. It'd be funny if Kamala wins, the MAGA people would go full retard. Oh yeah. Yeah, they're going to go nuts, dude. They did last time. I mean, last time they were literally like smearing shit on the walls inside like the Capitol building on the floor of the Senate and stuff. Yeah, they're going to go crazy. Not that the other side wouldn't go crazy too if Trump wins. I think they would. It's never quite the same. It's always different. They might go more crazy than they did the first time he got elected, when they were like knocking over trash cans and crying in the streets and stuff. We'll see. Right now, I think she's got a good shot. She's almost a 50-50. If this poll's accurate, it's a dead ass 50-50. Actually, probably slightly in her favor, really. The only thing that holds me up on that is that the Georgia is actually a tie. So Trump wins it, he wins. If she wins, she wins. But she's ahead in all of these. She's at least in a fight. There's no two ways about that. She's at least, I don't know. She's got a pretty decent chance. I still think Trump is slightly, just barely ahead. And when you look at the general election polls, she's had a lot of, like I said before, general election polls don't really matter that much. These are the polls that matter, swing state polls. General election just tells you kind of, like I've said before, general levels of enthusiasm throughout the country, bragging rights, gives you a good idea of like power, support, enthusiasm, because that'll tell you, like, donations and how many people are going to be working for them. Like if Kamala has 8 million more supporters than Trump, if only 0.1% of them are contributing to the campaign and actually helping out, that's I don't know, what's 0.1% of 8 million. I'm not even good at doing decimal math like that in my head. What would 1% of 8 million be? 8,000? Is that right? 8,000. So 10% of that's 800. Would that be 800 people? 800 extra people? Yeah. Now that I say it like that, that's that's a significant amount. But really, as long as the general election polls pretty close, I don't think it matters that much. If she's only ahead by like 4 or 5 points, not that big of a deal. Will I ever do a stream with viewers? I've done streams with viewers before. I don't know what you mean. Like a call-in show? Probably not ever going to do like a call-in show where I have like random people on. Maybe. I have brought someone on for my chat one time that was just in there. But yeah, I'll do streams with people. I bring people on. But I'm almost done with this one. I think I've said everything. I think I covered all my bases here. I don't know what else there is to say about this. I'm going to have to wait for another one, more polls to come out, but I think she's got a shot here. It'll be interesting to see who she picks. If she doesn't pick Josh Shapiro, that would be so damn stupid. I don't know why she wouldn't. I guess she's just scared. The only reason that she would do that is that she's just like terrified of the progressives. That's the only reason she wouldn't pick him. Progressives don't like that dude. That's the only reason she'd do it. And JD Vance is stinking up the Trump campaign. That was the other thing. Trump got a little roasted, I guess. It wasn't so much that he got roasted. It's that he kind of screwed himself and I've talked about this before, how Trump could jack up this whole campaign just by doing stupid stuff. And I said he probably would start to do stupid stuff because he's angry that they did this to him and switched the campaign. He's publicly said this. This isn't just speculation. He said before, essentially, that he's pissed off that they did this and that it was like a dirty move. And he was, how was he describing this? He was saying it was like if you have two fighters in a prize fight Okay. All right. Okay. I should be back, I think. Just dropped out for a second there. It's hard to tell. It looks like the connection's still, it says the connection's unstable. Um, well, I don't know what more I could do about that. Let me see here. See if it's coming through. It looks like it's live, but I don't know if my audio is coming through at all. Oh yeah, okay. I guess it is. I guess it's all right now. Uh, I'll go ahead and wrap things up here, and we'll backup power on. So, but it's kind of spotty. So I'm probably going to drop this out here, and I'll just catch up on this next time. I don't even remember what I was talking about. I was talking about Trump. Yeah, he kind of screwed himself up in that. I was saying how he could make big mistakes. I'll wrap up with that. I'll just make this point real quick and then jump out of here before my internet totally melts down. It's running on like a gas powered router, so it's gonna be it's just rough. Anyway, uh, Trump, like I said, he can shoot himself in the foot, and he's basically said that he's angry. He said that this would be like them switching out Kamala. Would be like if you had a boxing match and they switched out the fighter in the last round and you were winning the whole time, and then you switch the fighter out and just get your butt kicked. And he was making that analogy because they geared their whole campaign toward Biden and then had to switch it, and they'd already blown all this spending and all this stuff on him, and it just pissed him off. And so now he's out there and he's just talking trash about her, and he was trying to say that she was never, uh, essentially that she never acknowledged her black heritage, and she'd always said she was Indian up until she needed it for political purposes, which just isn't really true. I don't know where he actually tried to make it sound like she just made this switch whenever she started running in this election, which is sort of just ridiculous. It just kind of made him look like an ass. I don't think it's that big of a deal, but the media obviously was treating it like, oh my God, this is beyond the pale, and he's a dead man now, and it's over. The election's over because he said this. It's like, no, it's not good for him, but it's not like that bad. Like he would have to make a much more massive screw up. And that's we're only talking about with stuff like that pissing off kind of independents that might be leaning towards voting for him or don't really know stuff like that. The base is never going to leave the guy. Trump's base, it doesn't, like he said, shoot a man dead in Fifth Avenue, all that. I actually do believe at this point, if he committed like a heinous, gruesome murder live on camera, that his supporters would not care. They just wouldn't care. It would just like be excuses for him, like, oh well, lots of people kill people, like, well, maybe it was a deep fake. The CIA did it. He'd be like, no, I did it. And then they would just be like, oh well, yeah, but we don't care that he did it. He probably had a good reason for it. I don't know. I feel like they would do that. So stuff like that's never gonna. They actually probably think that kind of stuff is hilarious, and it was kind of hilarious watching him talk at that whatever thing it was. It was like black journalist convention. I don't really know. It was kind of a funny conversation if you want to look that up. Kamala appeared, I guess, on Zoom and gave a nothing burger of a speech. But that's what she's trying to do. She's trying to just play it safe and play to the middle and just be the normal young person, I guess, is what she's going for. Just trying to be someone who's not unlikable, but also is not Donald Trump. Those are like her two main appeals, I think, to the general public that doesn't really know that much. So, yeah, like I said, if he does more stuff to screw up, that could really be the deciding factor here. I think the debates could end up being a big deal again. I think the debates, depending on what he does, I don't think Harris will do anything in the debates that'll ruin her. I can't really imagine it. It's especially after what happened with Biden. It's I nothing like that's going to happen. But I could see Trump doing stuff that would screw him. I feel like she almost doesn't have anything to lose in the debates because Trump could come after her and try and make points about the stuff she's done or said she would do that is politically unpopular, or the screw ups she's done in her past, all of her baggage. I just don't feel like any of it really is going to land, especially coming from Trump, where I I don't know how his attacks really like land on anyone anymore, just because he said every damn thing there is to say. I mean, it's like with this comment. Like, what does that even mean? What are you even talking about, man? So I don't know if people are gonna like believe him, other than the people that already believe him. I don't know that he's ever gonna win any more people. He's just trying to scare people. They're each just trying to scare people away from the other one. Kamala is maybe trying to get people that are just like, I wasn't gonna vote because I didn't like either guy, and then they're like, well, I don't know who this lady is. Let's give her a shot. She has a chance to grow with people like that. I don't think he has any. I think Trump's got everybody that's going to be with him. Um, Kamala also has a chance to lose some people, but I think that would be. I don't really know how she could, other than people. It would be like journalists coming out. I don't know, from Fox News. If she did like a town hall on Fox News, that might she'd actually get asked hard questions and they'd grill her. She wouldn't be able to answer it. And I feel like any reporter doing that to her could screw her up a bit. Like some tough interviews could screw her up. I just don't. Most of the media, I don't think, is going to do that to her. And I think she's going to avoid the media that would, like Fox. And the only person that would really have a chance to do that would be Trump during the debate. But I don't think he's going to. I don't feel like he'll do a good job. But maybe he will. I don't know. Maybe he'll convince people by just sitting up there and saying she was in charge of the border. She did a trash job. Oh, the other thing they've been saying is she covered up Biden's condition, which is sort of ridiculous. I don't think anyone's going to give a shit about that. They're like, well, you didn't say he was old, and like, what do you even say to that? Like, I maybe she would just be like, well, I didn't have to, or the question that might really get her is like, do you think he's competent to do the job? But I just feel like any questions that are kind of about Biden or even related to Biden aren't going to stick because she's not him, and all she has to do is say, well, look, I'm not Joe Biden. Even if that's not a real answer to the question, that's just an easy way to dodge all of that stuff that sounds sensible enough to most people. They're like, well, yeah, she's right. She's right. She's not Joe Biden. like, like even though she was his vice president and all that shit. But yeah, I can see that. What are the worst for me? Candace and Hassan. They're unbearable and low IQ. Yeah, yeah. Those are definitely contenders. Those are some contenders for sure. Jesus. Yeah, Hassan is like mind-dumbingly stupid. I wouldn't even put him as far as like Hassan's stupidity. I don't think there's any political commentator that I would like could put into his category just for being dumb. Like there's people I hate, like Candace. I don't like her. I think she's crazy. She's like a schizo. She says weird, crazy stuff, but she's not just like when you listen to Hassan speak, it's literally like you're listening. It's like you're listening to a guy who like flunked out of ninth grade and like became a pothead. That's really what it feels like. And just the fact that he even talks about politics at all is astonishing to me that people listen to him. I don't know what I don't know what the target audience for that even is. Like who the fuck? I have no idea. I don't know. Maybe he's funny. He's kind of funny for being so stupid. Sometimes he does say funny stuff. So maybe there's that. Like Candace, I kind of get there would be like crazy like Christian people, um, Christian like victim community, I guess, and just general conservatives, isolationist type conservative stuff, MAGA type stuff. I bet Candace is popular with the Groypers. I bet they love her. Seems like a match made in heaven. Both big Kanye fans. Yeah, I don't know who would be the worst ones. I guess it could be those. There's like some tankies that are not like, I don't know if I'd call them political commentators even. They're like YouTubers. Oh, Joy Reid. If you want to talk about like cable news, so the like Candace and Hassan, I kind of put into like the YouTube category. But as far as like real like cable news people, the people that the boomers watch and Gen X and stuff, probably Joy Reid would probably be the worst one. All the conservative, I don't like any of the conservatives on cable news anymore. I liked listening to Tucker Carlson, even though I agreed with nothing he said virtually. I mean, he was always fine when it came to like anti woke stuff, like all conservatives are. But he just wasn't. If you watch the other people on there, the boomer people on Fox, like Sean Hannity and Laura Ingraham, and they're just I can't even I can't stand to listen to it. It's like so fake and like it's like an obnoxious tone, I guess. I don't even know how to put it. It's just like it comes off as like too scripted. Maybe that's the thing, and too like dramatic. It feels like it feels like they're putting on a character. It's weird. And I guess Joy Reid's kind of like that too, but she's progressive, and so like I'll always take listening to like more just wild, crazy stuff, even if I hate it. I don't know why. It's kind of funny. I think it's funny watching people say things that, in my view, are like so blatantly, absurdly ridiculous that I can't imagine anyone actually believing them, but they're like on live television just saying it. And I finally got like a sense of relief when they like CNN fired Don Lemon. He would have been up there. That was funny because I was like, finally, somebody was like, yeah, you can't just get up here and like say the most incendiary, crazy shit on on the cable TV. And they got rid of Tucker too. That was like on like the same day. That was crazy. But yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna ditch on out of here. I was already on for half an hour, and my internet's struggling enough as it is, so I don't need to push it. So I'll catch you guys later. Have a great night.